Good afternoon, everyone. This is student meteorologist Eric Drewitz with the New York State Weather Center. Currently, across the northeastern United States, we have temperatures in the mid to lower 30s across central New York. Isolated upper 20s, look like around Binghamton. Lower 30s across Hudson Valley, and then we have lower 40s across Long Island and New York City, which is where I'm currently stationed right now. And off to our northeast, we have lower 30s and upper 20s with light to moderate snow being reported around the New England coast. Our friends at Linden State College in Vermont, it looks like temperatures are in the middle to upper 20s with light snow or overcast being reported, and up in Maine, temperatures in the low 20s to to upper teens with either light, moderate snow around the coast to just cloudy, overcast inland. Over to our west, though, we see a big temperature contrast because over to our west, we see temperatures in the middle to upper 40s, and to our southwest, over the nation's capital and Virginia, West Virginia, temperatures in the 50s and 60s. So we have a decent temperature gradient between Maine and Virginia, like we would expect this time of year. Also, looking over to our west, let's go over to Michigan and Wisconsin. It looks like we have temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s to middle to upper 50s to lower 60s, even around Wisconsin and Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa. And that's because it looks like the wind flow is different across the Midwest than it is across the Northeast United States as a result of that low pressure system that affected and brought rain to our region yesterday. It's making winds come out of northwest since we're on the back side of that low. And let's go move over to the plains, central Midwest. So we have temperatures looks like in the 60s, in the lower to middle 60s across northern Illinois to mid to upper 60s with some isolated 70s over here in western Illinois, and then Iowa again very warm, and Minnesota we have 70-degree temperatures. We have some mid 70s even in mid 70s in Minnesota. To upper 70s actually in North Dakota, South Dakota, even some 80s, some isolated pockets of 80 degrees in Nebraska, and even South Dakota and Kansas. So some real warm air off to our west. And now looking at the current enhanced water vapor imagery, we see we have counterclockwise rotation off the coasts of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine, which was that low pressure system that's moving out of our region that affected Long Island, New York City, and dumped a half to an inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain yesterday. Melted a lot of snow. Foggy conditions were reported. We have lots of moisture, ample moisture to our over the northwestern United States, over Idaho, Utah, Nevada, moving into areas like Montana and Wyoming. We have a little moisture plume over southeastern Canada, over mainly over Ontario province, and then in northern Minnesota, going into northern Michigan, Wisconsin. We have some moisture from the Gulf, but not too much. Most of it's coming over Mexico, so probably from the Pacific. And now let's look at the current temperature advection throughout the country. This is surface temperatures plotted with winds. And as you see at the surface, excuse me, we have cold air advection occurring at the surface with a north to northwesterly flow across New York State and the rest of the northeastern United States, as this low pressure system over here is exiting to our northeast. Although, as you see, like I said, we have very warm temperatures across Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Kansas, as a result of some warm air advection from the, looks like, southwest occurring over that region. It looks like actually we have a good pocket of warm air. Oh, let me change the decals there. Sorry about that. Like to make it a marker. Actually, we could just make that a pen. All right. And we'll just, as you see, we have this warm pocket of warm air over the central United States, and then we have cold air intruding from Canada over the northeastern United States. And we could change views. So let's look at temperatures and winds at 850. And let's just wait for that to load. And as you see, we have cold air advection occurring at 850 over the northeastern United States. And we see over the central United States, let me change colors, that we have a high pressure system evecting warm air, it looks like, from more of the southwestern United States over the central plains and into areas like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois, making it unseasonably warm for March. So hopefully those people will have a nice St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday. But now moving forward, let's look at the profile at 500. And as you see, we have looks like around Nevada, Utah, we have a ridge enhancing, a high pressure system enhancing a ridge over the western United States. And then looks like we have a low pressure system off around Baja, California. And then again, the low pressure system enhancing a small trough in the northeastern United States off the coast of New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts. And now we can look a little bit globally at 500 to see conditions around the world. So as you see, off the coast of Greenland, off the south coast of Greenland, we have a decent trough, which is why it hasn't been too cold lately in the northeastern United States. But the forecast from a few days ago, from like 6 days ago, that video I did 6 days ago, does not look like it'll pan out as we thought, due to I'll get to it later in my video, but it looks like we will have a blocking pattern occurring, which will enhance a trough over the eastern United States, possibly for the rest of the month. It looks like over Western Europe, England, Ireland, Scotland, we have a decent ridge enhanced by this high pressure system over Scandinavia, pumping warmer air. We could go back to 850, and as you see, there's this big plume of sorry for the color, but this big plume of warmer temperatures at 850, of above freezing temperatures intruding all the way to Scandinavia. If I put my cursor over, let's see, Finland, we have temperatures about 5.8 degrees Celsius at 850, which is pretty warm for this time of the year. I know Scandinavia had a very warm winter this year. They had one of the warmest temperature anomalies in the world this past winter, as the northeastern United States, as you all know, we had one of the coldest temperature anomalies and one of the coldest winters ever on record. February again was very impressive. Buffalo office, National Weather Service, recorded their coldest month ever in history since the history of weather data collection even began. So that's just to show, how impressive this past winter was for the northeastern United States. But Scandinavia had the exact opposite. They had very warm temperatures over Scandinavia and Eastern Europe. Moving into Eastern Europe and Western Asia, we see a nice dip, a nice trough over Western and Central Russia. Again, I'll move this to 500, and we could take a look. And again, trough is enhanced to 500. We have a nice high pressure system over Scandinavia, enhancing that ridge that you saw that's happening at 850. And then moving forward, conditions look pretty zonal across Asia, China, India, Eastern Russia, and South Korea, North Korea, Japan. And 500, I believe it looked similar. Yeah, very zonal conditions over Asia, most of Asia. Sees real good zonal flow over North Korea and South Korea. And then moving over the Pacific, switch it to 850. Looks like a low pressure system off the coast of the south, a little bit south of the Aleutian Islands, and generally pretty zonal flow across the Pacific. So nothing really too special here, but I'll actually take a moment to look at just quickly. I know it's southern hemisphere, but just quickly look at Cyclone Pam down here over off the northeastern coast of New Zealand, and central pressures look like they're about 966 hectopascals, or a lot of you are familiar with, same thing as millibars, so 966 millibars. Just wanted to note that just for convenience, curiosity. We're trying to go global here. Again, this is the pressure at mean sea level pressure with winds at 850, and again showing that nice low pressure system off the coast of Maine, and central pressures look like they could be about 990 millibars, which is decent for this time of the year. Over the southeastern United States, we have a nice high pressure system at about 1,025 millibars. So I guess that wraps it up for that. Looking at past conditions, this is the I don't know why it's overlaid there, but anyway, this is the past 500 millibar height anomalies. So this is at initialized at 12Z today on the Sunday, the 15th of March, and each of these blocks, like it says T minus one. These are the past, so these are each 6-hour blocks. So this is 6Z, 0Z today, 18Z yesterday. So this goes back 5 days. So 5 days ago, it looks like we had a good trough over very eastern Canada, Newfoundland, Labrador, over the North Atlantic. And because of that, it looks like we had a little bit of a ridge build in now. Progressing through time, you see that ridge really build in as that trough of cold air moves more over the North Atlantic and away from the coast. And then you see that ridge really nice building in. But as we get closer in time, we have a nice little low pressure system developing. Let me rewind. Over the Great Lakes region, and then enhancing and deepening a bit as the large-scale disturbance that happened yesterday that brought rain to our region moved off the coast. Now we have a little bit of trough, as you see, in our region, which is why it's cooler today than it has been the past couple days. Now these are the 24-hour temperature changes. So as you see, like I said, very, 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 very warm air over the central United States. We have temperature changes that are, temperature increased. In other words, temperature here in southwestern Nebraska increased 22 degrees in the past 24 hours. Generally 15 to 20 degree temperature increases over Nebraska, Kansas. But as you see, though, over the northeastern United States, we had the opposite occurring. We have temperature decreasing over the past 24 hours. We have over western Pennsylvania to southwestern New York, we have temperature decreasing about 10 to 15 degrees over the past 24 hours. We have an isolated minus 17 up here. So in northern New York, looks like that's around Clinton County. Temperatures decreased 17 degrees, so dropped almost 20 degrees in the past 24 hours. Over here on the northwest, over Alberta province, Saskatchewan, into Montana. Again, we have about 20 degree temperature decreases over the past 24 hours, and as well as over Washington State, we have some temperature decreases, and Texas. But now we're going to move forward into the forecast. So this is the ECMWF on your left and the GFS on your right, and this is the forecasted, so the 8 to 10 day mean forecasted 500 millibar height anomalies. And the GFS is showing a little bit of ridginess in the east. However, the that's the ECMWF, but the GFS, which again was recently upgraded to a 13-kilometer grid spacing resolution over the Christmas break, so for the new year, the GFS here on your right is showing a nice dip over the eastern United States as a a ridge, a little bit of a ridge enhances over the western United States. And generally, due to the geostrophic wind wall and the geography of our continent, over the winter months and the colder months, generally we have a trough pattern in the east and a ridge pattern in the west, due to the geography of the United States and of North America. So now moving into the forecast. The long range forecast. So this is the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness, 6-hour precip fields, and the sea level pressure. Then these are each for each of these runs on AccuWeather Pro here. This is the 12Z NAM, the 12Z GFS, and the 12Z ECMWF. So this is the initial analysis of 12Z today for each of the models, and we'll start with the NAM. So the NAM is generally more short range, so I'm generally going to be preferring to use a GFS than the European, because I want to look at the long range here because this is supposed to be a pattern forecast. So anyway, this is the forecast for 0Z tonight. Generally, it looks like the trough is going to be moving out of our region, and we do have some periods of warming this week, but again, a disturbance looks like tomorrow night into Tuesday morning. We should have a medium to large scale disturbance moving through our region. Again, enhancing the trough as you see in the east over New York State and northeast United States, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, the whole region. At its coldest point at about 12Z Wednesday. Temperature, thicknesses between 1,000 and 500 millibars are well below 540 decameters. And generally, this time of year, we like to use 540 to 546 decameters lines to estimate where the rain snow line would be. So to put it in perspective, we have another good shot of cold air, and the cold air persists for a bit, but to get a better idea, because the NAM only runs out to 84 hours, the operational NAM. This is the 12Z run of the GFS, or the Global Forecast System. And this is, again, the main American model. So, again, this is 0Z tonight, and it shows the trough moving out of our region. And then a disturbance moving into our region on more towards late tomorrow night into Tuesday. And then, again, enhancing that trough in the east, over the northeast United States. It doesn't have it quite as cold as the NAM, but still it has a decent trough over us. And again, it looks like it has that trough persisting. I know when I was writing my forecast discussion for Les Park, or the Lake Effect Storm Prediction and Research Center at SUNY Oswego earlier today, we had another, both models were indicating some sort of disturbance moving in later in the week around Friday night, to Saturday, which will enhance the trough and the below average temperatures into next weekend. So as you see, this is 0Z Saturday, so this essentially is 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Friday evening. And the system, this disturbance that it's showing, is moving out to sea, and since we're going to be on the backside of a low, it's going to really enhance the trough over our region, because of the when you're on the backside of a low, or the western end of a low pressure system, you're going to have more so northeasterly changing to northerly to northwesterly flow. So we'll be getting that into that cold air from Canada, enhancing the trough in the east, and you see that trough really persists for a while. And then this is I'm not gonna really set anything in stone, because this is 276 hours out. This is 0Z Friday on March 27th. But again, another disturbance, a brief warm-up period, and then another disturbance moving into our region, enhancing the trough even more so. So, I know a lot of people have been saying, Eric, is spring going to come soon? Eric, is it going to get warmer outside? A week ago, we thought it would possibly get warmer outside, because the height anomalies were showing ridging, and temperatures looked warmer. However, now it looks like that doesn't look like that's what's going to be the case. The case looks like it most likely will be cooler than average for most of the rest of the month, as it looks like a possible blocking pattern might be setting up, causing this these troughs in the east and all this, like you see in these model runs, constant shots of disturbances. Yeah, it might not be all snow anymore like it was a month ago. However, it will still be enhancing cold shots of cold air to our region. Now this is 0Z Monday, so 0Z tonight, or 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this evening. And again, this is the European of the ECMWF 12Z run, and again it shows a nice large-scale disturbance moving into our region, and again enhancing a trough, cold shots of air. And then later in the week, we have a little bit of a warm-up, but not too much. And then again, another disturbance, between Saturday and Sunday moving into our region, really enhancing the trough towards the end of the week and into next weekend. And then you see that little next brief warm-up period, which was pretty well in agreement, I think, with the GFS, except the GFS had it occur a little bit later than the European, but still, I mean, this is well over 100 hours out, so I wouldn't have the timing. I wouldn't expect or count on the timing to be similar. Exactly the same. I would just expect. I'm just looking at trends past a certain point, and it is trending in a similar fashion, as between both models. So this is the 850 millibar winds, heights, and temperatures. And as you see, very dry air over our region at 850 tonight. But tomorrow, as a disturbance moves to our region to enhance the cold air, like I showed you in the previous images of the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness, we do have moisture as a result of that. And then, as you see, at 850, the temperatures will be dropping to about minus 15 to minus 20 Celsius over our region, most of our region. Again, so that that'll just show you again to reiterate the trough in the east. And then now this is the 12Z run the GFS, same thing, 850 millibar heights, humidities, and temperatures. So you see tonight again, looking dry, nice and dry for tonight. But as the disturbance comes in tomorrow evening into Tuesday, again decent moisture. And again, the temperatures at 850 will drop. As you see, we have that nice, northwesterly synoptic flow until about 18Z Thursday. And then it looks like we'll have a bit of a southwesterly flow. Like I said, we have that brief warm-up period Thursday. Looks like a brief warm-up period Thursday, Friday afternoon. But then, going into next weekend, we have that another system, another disturbance moving through our region, which will, again, you'll see the winds are going out of the northwest, and it'll be even cooler next weekend than it will be after the first disturbance passes through. It looks like there's a good chance of maybe some radiational cooling. I believe that was, let's look back. This was the discussion I just wrote earlier today. And I believe that radiational cooling looks like Saturday night, Sunday night. So again, definitely something to keep your eye out for. Now again, another disturbance. That brief warm-up period that I showed you in the other model runs with 1,500 millibar thickness, but again switching more towards the west and into northwest. So it does look like, we could be staying in a cold pattern for the rest of March. I remember I read back in January a post made by the Weather Channel, and it stated that the temperatures, the average temperatures between January through April would be below normal. So it looks like their forecast, their long-range forecast was fairly accurate, because that seems like it was the case. I mean, to reiterate again, just because how much I love it, yes, it was awesome, but also to reiterate because this winter really made history when it comes to temperatures. I mean, again, Buffalo had this past February 2015 was the coldest month ever recorded by the Buffalo National Weather Service on record, and Syracuse had their coldest February ever recorded in history. So again, 0Z tonight. Again, dry air at 8:50 tonight, and again, disturbance moving through our region. And again, as we get on the back end, that northwesterly synoptic flow at 8:50, causing the colder than normal temperatures across our region. And then again, later in the week, Thursday, Friday, that southwesterly flow, like I said, making conditions a bit milder those days. And then again, that next system moving into our region after this dry pocket of air, which will enhance the next trough. So now looking at the again 12Z NAM, 12Z GFS, and 12Z European runs. This is the 2 meter temperatures across our region. So this is 0Z tonight. And as you see for most of our region, temperatures in the 30s, low to middle 30s, mid to upper 30s across Long Island, New York City. Going back to current conditions, currently over Long Island, New York City, temperatures are in the lower 40s to maybe some isolated upper 30s. So that seems reasonable for about 00 or 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight. And then progressing through the week, as you see, we have a decent amount of this warm air over to our west. And one interesting thing that I always find fascinating to look at is the Great Lakes water temperatures. I actually could bring up quick the current water temperatures for some of the Great Lakes. So I'll bring up, since I am a student at SUNY Oswego, I will bring up the Lake Ontario water temperature, and this is from the off the coast of Rochester. I believe it's about depths of 35 meters, about 15,000 feet off the coast around Rochester. Temperatures of Lake Ontario actually look like they've gone up 2 degrees because the last time I checked it was at 34 degrees. Lake Erie is still at 32, but there is melting going on. I could actually, again, I'll bring up the Curtis Modus imagery, which is pretty much satellite imagery. I just got to quickly change my I guess I had D set for the marker, but anyway, not the smartest idea, but anyway, so this is the current MODIS imagery. So pretty much what we use MODIS for is we like to get an idea of what the current ice cover looks like over the lakes. Now this is 1702 Greenwich Mean Time, or 1702 UTC, or 1702 Z. So this is at 1:02 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this afternoon. A decent amount of cloud cover, so it's kind of hard to see. But this was the other day actually. And wow, this was at, what time was it again? This was on the 12th of March, so 3 days ago. And this was Thursday. And as you see, we have a decent amount of ice cover still over eastern Lake Ontario. And that does agree with what my observations were at SUNY Oswego. Oswego, New York, SUNY Oswego is right around here. So ice was extending to the horizon for most places, but it is starting to break up. But as you see, for the rest of Lake Ontario, it looks pretty open for business. Now, we could look at areas like Lake Michigan, because that looks pretty interesting. Because I'll show you... Lake Michigan has a decent amount of ice cover, but fairly broken compared to that solid ice cover on eastern Ontario, on the eastern and southern shores. But it looks pretty open for business for most of the time. But the reason why I find this interesting is because when we go back to looking at the temperatures for this time, you really see it getting really cold, sharp temperature gradients, or a lot of barochronicity around the lakes. Again, temperatures here look like they're, upper 30s. Over the lakes, but just off to the west, like right on the coast, temperatures around the mid, the low 60s to the upper 50s to low 60s. So, very sharp temperature gradients. Now, this is at 18Z tomorrow. So, yeah, temperatures look fairly mild across the region. Long Island, it looks like, low to mid 40s. Central New York, same case. Upper 30s across the Adirondacks. And then moving in towards later the week, as you see, it gets colder. This is the temperature at 18Z Wednesday. So here's 18Z Monday. And this is essentially 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time Monday. Like I said, low to mid 40s across our region to some upper 40s to even some pockets of 50 across the Allegheny Plateau over the western region, southern and western region of New York State. Although I personally don't like to say southern because I'm from the real southern portion originally of New York State, which is Long Island, New York City. But that's what they actually call it. Now, fast forward 24 hours from that. This is 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Tuesday, and temperatures look slightly cooler, but it doesn't. You really got to see Wednesday, because Wednesday temperatures, at this time look like for Long Island, New York City, middle to lower 30s, and then across upstate New York, central New York, temperatures in the middle to lower 20s, and even upper to lower teens and isolated lower teens across the Adirondacks. So we're really going to get a nice cold shot of air for Wednesday as a result of the system. Now, looking at the 2 meter temps for the GFS. Again, this is 18Z Monday. Again, warm temperatures to our southwest, 60 degrees. And then moving forward, this is temperatures in, again, the mid 40s over Long Island, New York City, in, low to mid 40s, low to mid 30s to low 40s, upper 30s to low 40s across like central western New York. And then again, Tuesday, low to mid 30s across western and central New York. Again, temperatures look like about the same across Long Island, New York City. But then as we get to Wednesday, it gets colder again. Upper 20s across, central western New York, and then, mid to upper 30s across Long Island, New York City, and then progressing throughout the week. Now, I will state that when I was writing my forecast later on in the week, there was definitely some disagreement in the temperatures between the GFS and the European. And again, the model guidance lately has been not the greatest, because we had a day, I believe it was Tuesday this last week. We have a local forecast contest at SUNY Oswego, and all of us forecasted for temperatures to be in the upper 30s to lower 40s range. And the temperature verified to be 51 degrees. Despite all the cloud cover, despite the snowpack and the ice pack, it still reached 51 degrees just because of the light southerly flow. So model guidance lately has been the greatest, just to state that and put that out there. Just because the model shows it doesn't mean it's actually true or going to happen, especially since model guidance lately has not been the best. But again, progressing into the week, this 18Z Thursday, so warmer than Wednesday, and then 18Z Friday, definitely are warmer of the 2 days of the warm-up period. But then, as you see, later in the week, we're gonna stay cold for a while, according to the GFS. And then again, this was that other period of warming due to the next disturbance moving through our area. Because also, think about it, if you have cold air evection on your western flank of the disturbance, which means you have northerly flow or northwesterly flow or northeasterly flow on the western flank of the surface, due to counterclockwise rotation, you will have warm air evection on the eastern side of a low, which is always true, and you will have more so, southeasterly, southerly, and southwesterly. So this is another period of warming, but as you see, it's very short-lived, and then temperatures go back to seasonable or seasonably cold. Now, this is the 12Z European, again, 0Z tonight, temperatures in the upper 20s across most of the region to lower 30s across upstate New York, and then again mid to upper 30s across Long Island, New York City. Again, this 18Z tomorrow, again, shows very, very warm air, even 60s intruding into, central Michigan. So very warm air occurring, and then 18Z Tuesday, you see the warm air is more trapped to our south as that system moves, and then when we get on the back end of that system, bam, temperatures are colder than average for this time of the year. And as you see, the European has been trending on the colder side, except for some of those brief periods of warming. I recall the Euro was on the warmer side, but again, showing the warm air over our region not lasting for that long, and as persistent blasts of cold air will enter our region. Again, these are the winds, 0 tonight, and as you see, generally when we're on the eastern side, we are going to get more winds out of the south. But for the most time, while we have these cold air occurring, we have the winds, out of Canada, that northwesterly, north to northwesterly synoptic flow occurring. So like you see, this is on the ahead of the disturbance. We have winds out of the southwest like expected, but then as it pulls through, we have that nice northwesterly flow keeping us cool for Wednesday. And again, the same thing happened with the shot later in the week. Southerly, southeasterly, southerly flow ahead of the system, and then when we got on the backside, again, that nice northwesterly flow persists, and then the same thing happens with that other system. As you see here by the indicated by the GFS. And now moving in, this is the European. Again 0Z tonight. That nice southwesterly flow ahead of the disturbance, but then again that northwesterly flow, like I said, to keep it consistent with the GFS, it's going to make it colder for Wednesday. And then again, moving ahead in the week, as you see, we have the nice southerly southwesterly synoptic flow ahead of the next system, but then again you're going to have another blast of cold air moving through our region, and then that next period of warming with that southerly southeasterly flow, but then again winds are about to change here as that next system moves through our region. So, I guess currently moving into mesoscale, even though this isn't really supposed to be a mesoscale discussion, this is the 12Z run of the 4-kilometer high-res NAM, and, not really showing much in the way tonight. These lake effects, little lake effect bands it shows here, I don't suspect them to be happening because we've been on a streak where the 4-kilometer high-res NAM has not been handling these situations well. And at the same time, the 4-kilometer high-res NAM has been showing short waves. I remember last week it showed a short wave coming down from Canada, dropping a little bit of precip over our region, and that never verified, so it never happened. But again, showing pretty quiet until about 6Z Tuesday or 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time Tuesday night as the disturbance moves through and exits our region. And as you see, it indicates looks like a nice frontal system off the coast, where there will be probably let's check, but probably according to the 4-kilometer high-res NAM, yes, like you see, a larger temperature contrast. 60s over here, upper 60s over here, and lower 40s over here. So again, progressing. This is 18Z tomorrow. Temperatures, in the mid to upper 40s across most of our region, and upper 30s across the northern tier. And then again, as the system moves out of our region, temperatures cool down. Same thing with the winds. I'll show you that nice wind shift. But again, this is 18Z tomorrow. You have that nice southerly flow, but as the system moves, we have that nice wind shift to northwesterly flow, bringing the cold air to our region. And again, these are the winds at 850. I'll show you quick before we wrap things up here. But this is 18Z tomorrow, and as you see, the cold air advection pattern at 850. This is 0Z tonight. Again, that nice low pressure system that brought rain to our region yesterday, moving away from us. So we get into a little bit of a weak warm air advection pattern around like 18Z tomorrow, and then again it moves into more of a cold air advection pattern as that system on Monday night, tomorrow night passes through and exits our region. So I guess this is the end of our forecast discussion. Again, to reiterate, it doesn't look like this pattern of warm air is really going to happen. It looks like, in fact, the quite opposite is going to happen, and we will have a pattern of cold air for the rest of the month. This is student meteorologist Eric Drewitz with the New York State Weather Center signing off. Please follow, drop a like to the New York State Weather Center and follow it for your latest forecast discussions, and analysis. This student meteorologist Eric Drewitz signing off with the New York State Weather Center.